see. And we're live. Awesome. Let me change the category real quick. Alright. Let me know how the volume is and everything. I'm gonna close out of the stream now. So what we got on our plate today? We've got a couple of things. Let's see. First thing, let's just see what we've been up to, right? We've been up to a couple of things. Namely, this fun little rope simulation here. Now that's all fine and good, although it is a little buggy still at the moment. We also been doing a lot of changes to, here's our new tile set, by the way. I can open an editor and show you. It's not complete yet, but it'll be a replacement for that village tile set that we had earlier. Since that one was just old and stinky and it didn't look very good. What's this boy doing up here? Oh, yeah, things may look pretty different here. And a lot of it is just small incremental changes. So here's our new tile set. The new rope physics we added. But also, I've been working a lot on enemies, trying to get them working. A lot of our enemies just straight up don't work. I do have, let's see, I do have something I can show you. Nope, it's gonna be back here. Let's see what we can do. I've got everything in one setup now instead of the multiple monitors, so let me know how this goes for, yeah. I made the font size for script extra big because I realized nobody's gonna read like tiny little script. But let's see. There we go. So this is what I was working on for the longest time, was enemies like this guy. He is going to walk under here and do nothing. But also, here's the bat. Oh no. These bats are absolutely crazy. Okay. Well, we'll ignore that for now. I was messing around with. A lot of things are broken. But the good news is a lot of things are being fixed as well. I have a whole laundry list of things that need to be fixed. So that was something from me messing with the enemies. These guys, if I don't get too close to them, you notice that they're actually kind of moving on their own. And what's interesting about them is they're moving based off of a waypoint system. So this is how we're gonna have like a lot of enemies move now. Instead of moving based off of, oh, get to the edge of a platform and like go somewhere, or instead of like doing trigger zones like we had for the birds before, where they would you would enter their trigger and then they would spawn. Now it's something kind of like in between. Basically, it's like pathfinding, almost. It doesn't generate the pathfinding itself, although it does. It does when we get close. I'll show you what happens then without getting hit, because otherwise, without hitting it. So you see that little point? That red bat is looking around. That's its target. And when it lost sight of me, it flew back right to the loop that it was doing before. You see, these bats are both on the same loop here, so they're following the active waypoint in red, and then they're basically taking it in the cycle. These guys are kind of like a silver bullet. I don't know how they ended up working, but they're probably the coolest and most complicated thing I've made so far. The fact that they animate based off of their actual movements, it's true procedural animation. I didn't think I would be able to do that in something like Laputa. But yeah, it's animated based off of their flapping, and their flapping is based off of getting to their target. They'll flap, you notice they'll flap faster to fly up, and they'll flap like not at all to drop down. It's like they got a mind of their own. They're just fun to watch, honestly. But yeah, when I go ahead and get one to chase me, you notice that that waypoint is now on my position. That's my player's position. And now they're both on me. So you can escape from them. But the problem is they have a faster max speed than you do. You can also trap them like this unintentionally. So they have a faster maximum speed, so if you're running down a hallway with one of these guys chasing you, you're not gonna win. But you can see you can really easily trick them out by jumping over them by changing direction, because they have like a lot of inertia, I guess. Their speed slows down a lot when turning. There's also this guy here. He doesn't have any waypoints, but he'll still chase me. And let's see. When he loses sight of me, I don't remember what happens actually. He just sits there. Okay. So you can run waypoints like independently of the enemies, which is going to be the crazy thing. Being able to run multiple enemies on the same loop. Being able to change the enemy that your waypoints are set for. You know, if you feel like it later on in development. But I'm glad to get out of this map because it's just so ugly looking, honestly. It's a lot of failed experiments, and the tile set was also a failed experiment. It had like, let's take a look at it, right? We had so many fucking different versions of this. Village Minimal is, I think, the one in the game, but it's just like, it's just smorgasbord. It's everything I didn't know where to put is in this tile set. I'm like, oh, I'd draw that, it'd be cool. But it didn't have any like theme or idea. It was completely devoid. It's just like, oh, this is the like basic starter level, you know? This will be like the overworld, don't worry about it. And that totally like killed it, right? It had negative vibes because it wasn't designed to be a tile set. It was designed for a bunch of tile sets. So the plan currently is to basically cannibalize this tile set and make it into new ones. Using graphics, remaking graphics, just kind of like generally not needing to put all these outdated graphics in the same place. Especially like when a lot of these are, yeah, experimental. Like, look, I guess we got spikes here. These were like just as a placeholder graphic, but now they're actually here. We got this, which was to test out Godot's auto tiling with the little fence. See if we can draw a line and auto complete it. Godot will. Like, this was to test out perspective, but it's got like a half block because I'm like, oh, that would look cool. It's just a bunch of bad ideas all in one tile set. Here, windows that are separate from the buildings, so that, oh, you could put windows on any building, but doesn't mean it will look good. Not at all. And what even is this? This is our terrain. Bruh. Imagine trying to draw terrain with this many tiles. You would have a fucking hell of a time trying to do it without like any kind of tool. And I'm trying not to write a terrain tool, because there's one Godot 3.0, 4.0, excuse me, is going to have a terrain tool. So I'm really trying not to write one, if I don't need to right now. I'm just trying to make the tile set simple enough that we don't really need a tool. That's where wastes comes in. It's just simple, really small, but it still looks good. I want to design it really, really tightly. Even stuff like this is just like concept and ideas. We only really have like this as our tiles in this tile set. And by the way, this is just for animation. Whole nother story. I got into trying to like make copies of the tile set for animation. So here's frame 1 and here's frame 2. Just a bad idea in general, you know? I needed to simplify, so I'm like, grass is separate, tiles are separate. Hey, that works. Alright, we're in. Let's put that back. And yeah, so it looks good now. It looks like a lot better than it did before. With not as many tiles. And a bunch of stringy things, which basically worked on yesterday. They are cool. I don't know if they distract from the visual style too much, and I'm trying to get them to act a little smoother, but they really aren't that heavy on like physics or anything. By the way, here's something I caught, or I figured out, which I really should have earlier. We have a lagometer just built into Godot. I'll leave this up. But we can basically see how lagged out the game gets while we're playing it without having to rely on like FPS counts. Super, super cool, super useful stuff. And it doesn't lag out that much, like, at all. So maybe that's just on this PC. I don't want to create something just like for funsies and then have it like break if we port it to mobile or something. But I think we can go like more. You can see the polys in this still, and the stretching is weird. I'm gonna have to fix that somehow. But yeah. Moving on to our current goal, right? This is what I was just working on before we started the stream. If we go ahead and look at the level editor, something has changed. We can draw tiles, we can erase tiles just like we always could, but there was something that caused the game to basically lag the fuck out. Oh shoot. Oh wait, oops. I forgot to do the Discord. Let me do that right now. Always pretty scatterbrained during these streams. It doesn't help that I haven't done one in quite a while. All right. Okay. Yeah. Let's stop this for now. So, the one thing that we had that caused a significant amount of lag was drawing boxes, tiles like that. And for the life of me, I was like, this algorithm looks fine. Yeah, it's doing like a lot of for through, like kind of like it's doing a lot of operations, but the operations are simple enough that it should be fine, so why is this causing lag? And I think you've even seen me struggle on stream a couple times trying to fix this, like why isn't it working, why isn't it working? Turns out it was a way more simpler than it like actually seemed. The thing that was lagging out the game wasn't doing the function to draw to preview a tile a bunch of times. It wasn't doing the function to draw tiles a bunch of times. In fact, all the info we passed there is just fine. But what the problem was we were calling a function that was drawing a sprite every single time. And that's why it was fine for like if you drew a little bit or drew like a paint tool. But the moment you started drawing like huge boxes, it just broke instantly. You think like, oh, that's not too many sprites, like this amount here. No, motherfucker, that's like 1,000 sprites right there, and it's doing that in an instant. So no wonder it was like, no wonder it was lagging out. It was drawing like 1,000 sprites, and it was creating them and deleting them like instantly whenever you move the mouse. I think I have a video where it's like literally it's lagging out for like 1, 2, 3, like 10 seconds or something like that. So how we fix that? Well, it's actually pretty simple. We should have been doing this all along. What we do is now we create a tile map, which is the same way we draw tiles like when we actually want to draw them. I really should have thought of this, but now whenever we want to preview a tile like this, we create a tile map, and we draw all the tiles onto it like we normally would. That's simple. Just for some reason Godot says, yep, that's like I can do that, I know how to do that, I can do that easy. But if you tell it to draw a bunch of sprites at the same time, it's like, I don't know what the fuck you're telling me. So I thought we could go and start by tightening up that code a little bit, because it is a little jank. We have a huge task list for today, but we're only going to get 2 parts of it. One of which is fixing undo and redo, which we can start. We can't fix it, but we can start. In any case, let's go to our new function. It's preview tiles, okay. Let me know how music volume is and such. Basically, this was our previous function. Just like I was talking about, it was calling a function that would set preview. Here we go. and set preview basically created a sprite every single time, and that was not a good idea, to say the least. It's a little cramped in here. Let me make some room for myself. Okay. Can we make this go in a little bit? Nah, okay. Thanks, Godot. Right. So now what we're doing is we're getting an array of cells. We know what tiles to preview. Or do we, right? Because I had a bug where it wasn't working if you had multiple tiles selected. Let's check that out real quick. So if we go and select this 2x2 pattern, we can draw it normally, but if we wanted to preview it, okay, it works just normally. I'm not sure what was going on earlier. Maybe a deeper rooted bug we still have to fix. That's so good, just being able to draw a bunch of tiles like that. Finally got that fixed. But what it is it's not transparent anymore, and I want to fix that. We can do that super easy. So here's the tile map that it creates whenever we preview tiles. And we got the cell size, we got the tile set. We'll just do a tile map dot modulate and set that equal to a color which isn't fully solid. Now we did this, here we go. This is basically 50% opacity in Godot's color format, which is a vector for RGBNA. So now, excellent. Okay. Now, since this new script, this new way of doing tiles is so cool, I want to use this for everything. If you notice here, like, I'm making a line. Well, if I tab out while still doing that, I believe if we go to remote, yeah, we still are creating thousands, or not thousands, but like a lot of sprites for that. It's using the old function to make a preview. And if you're just tuning in, we are working with our tile set editor, trying to make it all nice and neat, and changing the way that it previews the tile that you're about to place. So let's see. We want everything to redirect to preview tiles, but preview tiles takes an array, and let's see, if we wanted to preview a line before, which was the thing I said was still using sprites instead of a tile set, we have to use a different algorithm for that. Just because drawing lines is different. So if I'm looking here, we're like instancing through stuff. Tile is equal to vcell, and then we set preview. We'll just change this function right here to use our new way of doing things. Let's see. Instead of setting a preview, we'll just set the cell itself. But what would help is we need this information here, right, to create that tile map preview. So, preview tiles, and we're going to split this up into a couple of functions. Preview tiles can stay, but we'll create a new function. We don't want to use you anymore, called set preview And the information we need to pass on to it is literally just the, it's the cell. We'll do that, we'll do this all in there. So we'll pass cells we need. We also need the tile. And we need now actually we don't need tile because we get that from active tiles. That's our current tiles we're drawing, the brush. So we'll just do the tile map. And awesome. Don't forget that. We'll do set depends. Okay, we'll have to create another argument here. We'll call it type, and type, we'll set it equal to a string. No, we'll just set it equal to I don't like the name of that. Box. Now the type will default to box. So, hey there, how's it going? We're working on some code for our preview of our tiles. In our tile set editor, we've got a way to preview which tiles we're about to draw, and so changing up the way those are drawn. We used to have a million sprites we used to draw for every tile we wanted to change. Now it makes more sense to use Godot's built-in tile set to draw them. So let's see, if our type is box, let's do match, match type, and if it's box, then we'll go ahead and set a preview box. But if our type is line, then we can use that other function we created way back. We also need to pass the cells and the tile map. So we're going to rename this function here to set preview line. It's going to take the cells, and it's also going to take the tile map. So now it knows which tile map to draw this on. Use get brush origin. I don't know what that node is, probably from way long ago. We don't need to worry about it. Coolio. So now we're almost done. It will get the type, which defaults to box. So then we set it up here. See, what am I forgetting? Type. Should I be doing this? Oh, comma. Yeah, okay. Nope. So we could run this, but it won't work because when we're currently calling set or preview tiles, we aren't passing this new argument over to it. So let's go ahead and fix that. Preview tiles, there's our cells, and we'll add, we want to do the box algorithm, whatever you want to call it. In here we want to do the line algorithm. all this stuff, it's just, it gets so dense. I really shouldn't have all of these in the same script, but when you take a step back, it's a lot easier to see. Let's see, we've got that, we've got that. Awesome. Those are the only places it's being used. Yeah. Let's take a look. Now we got our tile set editor here. We can go ahead and preview our tiles. Awesome. It works if we wanted to draw it, if we wanted to draw a box, and does not work if we want to draw a line. This is because the cells it's giving us are different. Let's check that algorithm really quick. Yeah, he's a little wiggly boy. It draws correctly, but it only gives you the first tile. And that ain't right. I believe it's because when we're setting a line, we only really keep track of the first tile in the group, right? So we'll just know where to set the rest of the group. In that case, the cells are different. We were just setting preview, weren't we? But the tile's different. Am I gonna have to, let's see, I'm gonna have to bring up GitHub to see what it used to be. Preview 2D array, which is the drawbox function it used to be. But preview line, here we go. It used to be set preview cell plus offset. Okay. And then the tile. Because the offset, I think, was like it's offset from the home point. It's some weird system. Drawing lines, I didn't really expect it to be, but drawing lines out of squares is way harder to code than drawing boxes. It's especially if you're drawing lines out of things that aren't one tile big. Like if I selected like an arbitrary shape here, drawing a line out of this, it gets really funky. You can see it's still a little funky, but that all works great now. Mostly what I wanted to solve was the fact that whenever we created a bunch of tiles by drawing a box, it would lag the game like entirely down. Still a little bit laggy, but I gotta show you what we were doing before with that. Let's see. Basically, okay, this is once it was fixed, but nope. Nope. Let's find that one. Here we go. That's actually not it either. Did I not have video of this? No, I guess not. But basically drawing this would cause the game to basically soft lock and freeze. You can see here the the time per frame is 17,000 milliseconds, which I don't know much about milliseconds, but that sounds like less than 60 FPS. So we're all good. We can get rid of the old functions now since we're all using these new ones. Awesome. Let's go ahead and put that in as something we did. Fixed previews on tile ifs. Now, one thing I did want to check here that I just remembered, we're not really clearing the preview until the next preview is set. So is there any situation that would be a problem? Like, for example, if I clicked here, that preview is still there. It's not really doing anything because it's below our tiles, but I don't know how to feel about that. I was expecting to notice a lot more, but I suppose it's always being covered up by something else. I guess we'll just leave it for now, honestly. I really should tighten it up, but it doesn't seem to be harming anything right now. So we got ropes to mess with. We have a new hitbox for our player that just interacts with ropes right now. Because I despise capsules as like a way of doing movement. But if it's for physics, then yeah, we can use capsules. The ropes themselves, I want to either make them have a max stretch before they snap back to their position, or to prevent the player from like directly interacting with them. Because this whole thing is, it was just a demonstration of the technology, but it's kind of weird, isn't it? Like, it looks like they're in the background because we can go in front of this part, but now they're not in the background. And if we go up here, they are in the foreground. It's just kind of a weird mix of problems going on here. But before we do that, I guess let's check what else is on our GitHub problems. Save window, resize. Yeah, but that's boring. Storing tile positions. We can close this one because it's not actually faster. I looked into that. Able to grab world if nothing, yeah. I do remember something we need to do, and that's the way we're currently storing tile information could be a little more efficient. And this is what is causing like work on undo to be really, really difficult. We have an undo function, a redo function, and they were working just fine. Now they're broken, and we gotta go fix it. And this labyrinth of a script right here. Yeah, so gotta not break on that anymore. Undo and redo don't work because we have to keep track of all the operations that are being done. And that might sound simple, it probably doesn't. But when you're placing a bunch of tiles down, it gets really complicated. You've got a lot of data to work with. Basically, if we want to undo, we have to recreate everything we undid, and we have to have the information to recreate it. So in the case of placing a tile down anywhere on the map, we have to have the position that tile is at, the ID of that tile, like what tile it is. We have to have the layer it's on. And the last thing we have to have is what tile did that tile just cover up? Like if I drew something and then another tile got placed down on top of it, it's not enough to just record the new tile, because when we undo, we have to replace it with the old tile again. We currently have all that information, but the way it's being stored is jank as fuck. Let's see, if we go to, we've got a bunch of different functions, and this is the part that trips me up about my own code. Here we go. So here's what we are, the information we're sending back to the undo function. We're just keeping this stored in memory. It's a array that looks something like this, right? We've got our array, which consists of a string, which in the case of like setting something, it's set cells. This is so undo knows what we're doing and how to recreate it. And then it stores, alongside that, it stores another array, which is all the information in that operation. So we've got vector 2, which is our position. We've got the tile ID, whatever it is. We've got one more thing, right? Which is a weird idea. I was kind of probably just not really thinking when I was making this, but we've got a dictionary called Old Tile Dic. Why we're doing this, it is totally nonsensical to me. What this dictionary stores is something like this. It's a dictionary where all the keys are layers, where our tile set layers. So layer 1, and then the value will be the tile we replaced, so tile ID, and then it will go on like that. So layer 2, and then tile ID. This is complete nonsense, because we only need to store one tile it replaces, right? Theoretically, right? We can only draw on one layer at a time. So if we just had instead of doing this wacky nonsense, what we need to do is store the layer, and then instead of storing a dictionary of all the old tiles we replace, since we're only overwriting one tile, we'll just store the ID of the old tile. And if I can type, that's what we're gonna do. Get rid of that boy. This is what our operation should look like when it's in the end. But we gotta do some prep work to get that working. Namely, tearing out this weird dictionary nonsense. We have a system, right? Let me actually undo a bunch of this to make sure it actually works. Yep. So we have a system here called Draw on Auto, and hell knows if this works or not. Honestly, it probably isn't with the state of our code, but the idea with this is that we get to take the position of the tile in the tile set, and we'll automatically draw on the correct layer. So if I wanted to draw, here, I'll do an example of it. I'll draw a bunch of land tiles, and automatically it will know that this should be placed on top of it. I'm noticing a problem with that preview tiles actually. The preview shows up a layer below. Yeah, it should always show up on top. So that's the good thing with the auto tile system. And how it works is it actually takes the Y position of the tile. So these first 4 tiles up here are all far back. Next 4 tiles are all back. Next 4 tiles are all front, and the next 4 tiles are all far front. It just makes it easier to draw tile sets, like when they're structured in a logical way. Instead of just trying to like, I am a terrible person. I will create a tile set and say, oh, but that doesn't make sense, like that's gonna be hard to draw with, and I'll rearrange it, and then all of my maps will be destroyed because I rearranged the graphics for it without changing the references. That's something that I actually worked pretty hard to fix. We have a system now where we can swap any 2 tiles in our tile set and it will keep them just the same. So if I drew this pole boy here, right? Usually if we switch the graphics in like a sprite, it would totally get rid of this pole boy and replace him with this guy. But now it keeps the reference, it keeps the tile ID. It just changes its position in the image and in the everything in the editor too. So here's the cool thing. So you see how we swap those tiles? Let's open that tile set again. It's swapped in the tile set too, because it actually takes the image and swaps these 2 things and puts the image back. It saves the image. That was the craziest thing to get working, honestly. I'm hoping that'll save me a lot of time redoing every map whenever I want to rearrange something. Still could be improved a little bit. But what the topic we're on right now is 2 things. One, previews are showing up below the other tiles, and that makes sense actually. I was wondering why that was happening, but take a look here. Here's all of the nodes that are currently in the game, and here's our little scene tree. This is the game that's running right now. So we've got in our little tiles, we've got a far back, back, front, and in Godot, the further down it is, the higher the layer is. That makes things, it seems a little bit weird if you used to like Photoshop and stuff, but it makes sense because the last thing spawned will spawn on the bottom and it will spawn on top of everything else. So here's our little tile set, our tile map that does the preview tiles. And though it is in front of all these other tile sets, it's not in terms of Z layer. So we take our Z index, right? Z index is our way to cheat this node hierarchy. Even though far back is objectively farther back in the node tree, we can change the Z index to make it appear on top. And that's what we're gonna have to do here. So what we'll do is we'll change the code that spawns that tile map to include a line that sets the Z layer to something like 3. I actually set it to like 999, so it'll always be on top of everything. And where do we put that? Here we go. Easy enough. Tile map dot Z index equals 999. Awesome. So now, yeah, our new preview is always on top of everything else. Perfectamundo. I wanted to check that out really quick. It was a cool effect. Yeah, so it'll be on top. It'll even be on top of the sprites, or the these guys, which is interesting. I suppose that works. By the way, this is, we're drawing with left click and erasing with right click. That's how easy it is to do now. Super happy. Like, honestly, just doing this little scene was fun. Now that our tools actually work, and once we have Control C and Control Shift C, once we have copy and paste too, holy shit, that'll be really cool. Basically, all of the work the last couple of months has been going into making the process of making levels fun. Because if that's not fun, then it's really not fun to make your game. But yeah, it's a process. I just saw on the title screen, if I turn that back on, I kind of reeled myself because if we don't skip the title, it gives us the development version of it, and the development version 16 months 18 days. Holy shit, when I saw that. And that's why we don't think about life and the decisions we've made. So we fixed our tiles, but there was something else we wanted to do. I have bad memory. Oh, it was changing the way tile information is passed on. Yes. So we have that auto layer system, but we should still have a layer to hand over to this guy. Let's check for that. I don't know if it's global or if it's local. Our tile, oh yeah, that's right. Our layer is actually our tile map, because it's the tile map node we're referencing. So let's just do a little bit of testing, right? I want to make sure that that tile map is always correct. And so we'll do tile map. We'll also do it. This is setting up the old tile dictionary. Yeah, we don't want you. Instead, let's change our Control Z function into what it was before, where it prints some nonsense and then it breaks. We really just need the break. I don't know why, but unless we break, we really can't check those values. So let's do some stuff and we'll check what the memory remembers. Yeah. So Control Z, it breaks. And we'll check out the debugger here. If we take a look, we have a variable called not active operation, but there should be one called past operation. Future, active, active. Past operations is null. That is not correct. We had two of them. Now this was just working, so I don't know why. No, here we go. Past operations is an array with size 2. What are you talking about? Do I have to let this continue for a frame? Let's just try it again. I don't know why. Past operations should be size 3 now. And still null. Why is it null? Is it because... Hey, Fi. How's it going? We got some code going on here where we just fixed our level editor and we're currently working on the way we store information in our level editor. So here we got some new level stuff going on here. Basically what we just fixed was the memory leak that happened when we created a bunch of tiles. Now we can draw a bunch of tiles without having any problems with impunity. But the thing I'm more concerned about right now is the way we're storing the information about these tiles, because we're doing it in a really jank way, and I'd like to not be. In any case, we got a couple of things going on. First of all, I'd like to make undo and redo work again, and currently we're not storing the information we need for them to work. We're not storing that properly. It's my current goal. Let me know how the music is and everything. So we broke, and past operations should have our information, but it does not. Instead of just banging my head against the wall, let's try changing that again to not include the tile map. And if that doesn't work, then we'll go back to GitHub and see what we messed up. Past operations and array size 2. That's what I want to see. Oh, maybe it's because it didn't have the variable tile map, and that's why it was null? I don't know if that happens. But here we've got the array, we've got the nested array. This is operation 0, the most recent one we did. Set cells, just like I was saying before. And here's basically all of the blocks that we changed within that operation. The position, the tile, and this stupid dictionary that we don't need anymore. Let's go back to those. We should have the tile map. I just want to see what tile map is, so if we do an operation, let's go ahead and print it to the console. Not literally. That'll tell us what information we are actually sending to undo. Yeah. Now, bring up the console. It's telling us we drew on the far back layer, which is correct. Just to make sure that our guy is working, let's do some other ones. This one should be not on the far back. Okay. Okay. So, if you see here, we have the one we manually select. So, yeah, it's telling us what we're manually selecting, but that's not necessarily what we're drawing on. In the case of when we've got this auto tile draw on, the tile map isn't accurate anymore. So we've got to either do two things. One, change the tile map. Well, no, because it's going to be in a single stroke. We can draw on multiple tile maps. We've got to get that information from the operation itself somehow. Let's find out if there's any way to recover that information. Let's see. Is it just layer? It might just be layer. Let's try it out. And we'll print layer. Front, back, awesome. It has its own data structures, but if you want to get into more complicated things, what you do is you kind of nest them together. Godot has basically all of the data structures you would find in any other programming language. It consolidates a couple of them together, which is very nice for people who aren't friendly with using shorts and longs. Like that stuff's a little bit beyond me. I get it. I don't want to use it. It's a higher level programming language, so it tries to make a lot of the stuff easy for whoever's writing it. And it was great to learn on, right? I think Godot, the reason why I'm still with it is because that's how I learned to program, was through GDScript here. It makes things nice and neat and simple. So now that we've got the layer, we don't really need this like dictionary anymore. What in the plan we were going to replace it with was the old tile ID. But we've got to write this somewhere. So let's go ahead and start ripping out some old code. Tile dictionary. It's all because of this multi-erase. On literally any other way we're drawing, we can never draw on two tile maps on two layers with the same tile and the same cell. That's unfortunate, yeah. I struggle with C++, especially I just like a bunch of redundant shit. Just coming from this, I guess. a lot of people are get really nice and friendly with their brackets, but I'm like, get that out of here. Or curly braces, I guess. I'm not a programmer. Why I'm making a game is beyond me, but I'm learning. So, the whole reason we were making this was for multi-erase to work, but I don't really care about multi-erase. If we do something different, we can get rid of it. This is basically what normally would happen. If it's an auto layer, then get the layer. The lack of colons triggers you. Semicolons, yeah. Doing that after every line was, oh my god. When I tried to do like programming for Arduino, it's just like, oh, you've got the semicolon. I'm like, you've got your curly brace. The worst part is I'm not sure if this applies to all C++, but the fact that you have to define a function higher in the document than when it's called was like an absolute killer for me. It's just like, why? Can't you just read it like when I tell you to? A bunch of organizational structure stuff. Effectively, it's just the same, a little different. You can also tell I don't like using little ampersands and stuff. I just do it so it's easier to read. What do we got going on here? We get the layer, which we do need, but we also set this old tile dictionary, which we are getting rid of. Instead, we just need the old tile, which will just be this, honestly. I don't even know why we had a dictionary. Old tile will be the tile on the layer, and then we'll set the new tile on the layer. Awesome. Let me add some. So yeah, it's all tab based. In physics, are they using Python? I imagine stuff like that. Active tiles. No. Past operations is null again. I don't get that. It really shouldn't be. Let's try without the breakpoint. How about this? We'll just, instead of breakpointing, we'll just print past operations. That'll be a lot easier. Now we'll be able to see what the operations are. So here we go. Even though it's in red, we can see that the past operation was set cells, and then on the far back layer Now it gives us the far back layer, but it also gives the node itself. That's useful, but might break shit if it changes at all. We'll keep that for now, but then there's our vector 2 position, and then there's our tile, and then there's the tile it replaced, which in this case is -1 because there was nothing there. You can see our past operations gets bigger and bigger the more we do stuff. That could be a problem. Right now we're just doing we have infinite past operations. That's going to be a problem. I know it will be. But until that time, this is a developer tool. I'm going to say I want infinite control Z's. Even if it starts making like a memory leak, I don't know. Let's see. The most technical stuff they use. Oh yeah, MATLAB. I remember my sister had to learn how to use MATLAB when she went into oh geez. What is the one? Calculus, where you're calculating like you're doing with the graphs and the third-dimensional graphs. General purposes Python, yeah. Oh, that's cool. I bet you were popular. I kind of miss, not stuff like that, but being away from school. I know you feel it with the summer. It's just like, no, what do I do? Those were all the people I saw. But you can do stuff like this to fill the time. And it looks like our game broke. That is interesting. I can't... Okay, this is a pretty immediately pressing bug. Is it because... Oh... I think I know what the problem is. Here when we're erasing... we broke erase on all. We can fix that by fixing that code I just commented out. If multi-erase and is eraser, which it is, we don't want an old tile dictionary anymore. If it's an eraser, it does matter. Oh, yeah, this is why we did it, isn't it? It looks like an Among Us character. The problem is, yeah, this is why we have the old tile dictionary. I was just talking about, oh, we don't need it. And if we do multi-erase, we can do something else, which is what we'll do. But this is why we had a dictionary of all the tiles it was replacing, was because in this one very specific circumstance, it's replacing tiles on every layer. To get around this, let's do some shenanigans. Oh, I actually know how to get around this. Instead of doing layer, we'll just we'll feed it like a string, right? That will tell it to do all layers. Since it's just information we're passing along, it doesn't really matter what that information, what the type of information is, as long as we interpret it properly in our undo function. So let's see. We replaced old tile with the layer. For L, I'm just going to do layer because that makes more sense. Actually, no, because there's multiple layers. If it's a tile map. Now here's something interesting. We kind of broke this, didn't we? By having the previews also be a tile map, when we erase, we're erasing previews. I don't know what kind of shenanigans this is gonna cause. It seems kind of safe, but we'll keep an eye on that. If our previews aren't showing up, then that's why it's erasing itself. But we've got our old tile. We've got multiple layers. Instead of saying yeah, just having it be on all layers won't work. Instead, we'll have to make old tile into a dictionary. God damn. We're gonna have to do that. It's okay. We'll just have that as an exception. Old tile will be a dictionary. We'll define it here and we'll do it here. And when we're done, we'll return instead of calling a dictionary, we'll just make old tile into a dictionary. So we can return it with the same name. Now it will put old tile with the key L, which is our layer. It'll basically look something like this. Layer 1, the key will be whatever our ID is. Then I can like make it all nice and proper if you actually care. Now it should work. We're not doing anything with this information, but it will pass the information along properly. And we'll check on that. So if we got one tile, do some stuff with it, Control Z, and it should print. It prints a lot of operations. Let's do something. First of all, let's reset our operations and we'll just do something simpler. Like, I'll create this, I'll create this in front of it, Control Z, we'll check the output, set cells. It replaced -1 with 162. This operation replaced -1 with 192 on front. Now if we erase on both of those tiles, Control Z, it'll print our newest operation, which is it's the last one here. Set cells far back 4311 and is this an array? Those are the -1s. This one just returns -1 twice. That's not really we don't really want it like that. Oh, is it a dictionary? I can't read for shit. What is this? Set cells front. This is the second one. This is the third one? How about we just tabs instead of 4 spaces? Oh my god. I don't know anybody who does that. But I know you can, which is the worst part. It's like when you're typing in characters, and it's just like to line up one line and another line, you type in a couple of spaces. Not in programming, but I remember back in the day making ASCII art like that. So we told it to store it as a dictionary, but I don't see no dictionary. What am I looking at? Yeah, it just appended it to our first array. So I don't know what it thinks it's doing with that. Maybe it's because we defined it as an array and trying to change it to a dictionary too late. I don't know what we did. Old tile. Old tile is a dictionary. Old tile L. How we break at this point? Messing around with 2 standards in GitHub. Oh, do you use GitHub with command line stuff? I can't imagine. I'm no good with command line stuff and with like server stuff. That stuff's just beyond me. Let's see. So our old tile should be here. It is. It's a dictionary size 1 with... This is our problem, and this is why undo wasn't working even when the system was in place. We're not giving tile as a number. We're giving tile as encoded object as ID. I have no idea what that is. But it's not right. What we're doing is we're getting l.getSelfie. Basically, let's look up the documentation for tile map. This will elucidate some of it. No, not this one. Give me the real one. GetSelfie is the function. If the tile exists, no tile, it returns invalid cell. Invalid cell is -1. But I don't know what that data type is. I hope it reads as a number, as an int. But if it doesn't, that's just weird. Oh, actually, no, the number is correct, but the key is wrong, because that's why our key is literally the layer, and we need the layer name. So it's a string. Otherwise, yeah, of course it's like a weird fucking object that's the key. Let's see. Old tile, far back, -1. That's what I like to see. Let me not flub that one. So now let's go back and finish it up here. We might actually fix undo today, if it's really that simple. We're passing the layer, the cell, the tile, and the old tile. That's all the information we need to recreate it. Old tile, in the case of not an eraser, is just an integer, and in the case of an eraser, it's a dictionary with a bunch of keys. Oh, you got that right. Especially with spaghetti code like mine. Let's go ahead and free undo from its chains of bondage. If we can actually get it working today, that'll be way above what I was expecting to do. Let's see. Set cells. So this is telling us what to do when we encounter this kind of operation. Sub-operations is all of the... Basically, we return an array that looks something like this. We've got our operation name, and that's a string. We've got an array with every sub-op. So if I can type 1, comma, and these sub-operations is what we were seeing before. Normally we'd only have one of these, but in certain circumstances there's multiple things we want to undo, and it gets messy. Just have that option. That's what sub-ops are. So when we're setting cells, sub-operations is the first array, position 1 or like index 1, which is this group of sub-ops. And for T and sub-ops, just for every one of these, old tile dictionary is T2. I have no idea what that is. For layer and old tile dictionary. This is grabbing the old tile dictionary and it's recreating every one of it. So for in old tile dictionary is, yeah, but not really. No. In fact, I don't think we're even passing the cell in the old tile dictionary anymore. Let's go back and check that. We are literally just setting the value equal to the cell. This doesn't tell us much, does it? Let's clear this up a little bit. This is setting the new tile. And it's an eraser. So it's always going to be -1. Or, yeah, -1. But this one... we don't really need to. Like, theoretically, if we were replacing multiple tiles with multiple cells with multiple tiles, we would need to record the tile. But since it's an eraser, the tile is always going to be -1, isn't it? So we can just recreate it by telling what kind of data type old tile is. If it's a dictionary, then undo... well, hold on. That's not true. The new tile is always going to be -1, but the old tile is going to be something random every time. So... old tile should be an array, just like we had it before. We're replacing an integer with a dictionary, with arrays inside of the dictionary. What are we doing? Let's write some of these. So we'll do var cell equals, we'll do replaced cell, so that makes a little bit more sense when we're reading this back. And var replaced tile is going to be, do we have this? Can we get this? Yes, we can via get cell. Well, hold on. Actually, that's what this is right here. This is the tile. And replaced cell is just cell. Yeah, we already have that information, so the dictionary will consist of cell and then replaced tile. And that's the information we'll send out. Yeah. It's a lot of, oh my god, if you think this is convoluted, you should see how we're keeping track of what cells we're painting in the first place. It's like, it's a 2D array that's nested in the fucking dictionary. Who knows anymore, honestly. That's why this is such a monstrosity of like code to work with. And it won't work the way I want it to without all this stuff. Just getting it to like, hey, if we hold control, I want it to like repeat tile like this. Just like stuff like that alone. Like, this should work like this should work like this when you're drawing multiple tiles. That stuff like breaks and convolutes itself. It just doesn't agree with anything else you've written, so you've got to write more custom code. Like, there's a different function for placing this than there is for placing it like this or for placing it like this. It's just a lot of crap to work on. Making a universal undo for all of those is so difficult, and that's what we're currently struggling with. But yeah, we've got Old Tile Dictionary as T2 here in subops. In fact, it's not going to be T2 anymore, it's going to be T3, because let's just write the structure down here so we can get it later. Sub is equal to, it's going to be a array with the layer object, comma, the position. We know that's a vector 2. The ID, which is also the tile ID. And then we've got either a dictionary or an ID. So old tile Vulkan render. Oh my gosh. Like making your own render engine? I've seen videos of people doing that. Holy shit, hats off. I can understand why some knowledge of physics would be necessary for that. Old Tile Dictionary, Old Tile will be T3. First, we'll separate out two conditions. So if old tile is int, then we will just go ahead and replace that, honestly. We can do that right here, right? Set cell. Let's actually get all of our information first, since it'll be easier to read that way. The cell's position is now not cell 1, but T1. The tile is T2, new tile. And our layer is T0. There we go, all nice and neat. If it's an int, we'll set the cell on cell position with the new tile. I guess it's kind of weird to do new tile, old tile in this situation because we're undoing it. In fact, we want to replace it with the old tile since we're undoing, don't we? Yeah, we do. Old tile and layer. Yes. Now, if old tile is we will do this whole block here. The old tile dictionary should look like this. So we'll put this here. It's got the layer as the key, and then we've got our cell, comma tile, and that will be what we use. So we'll redefine some of these variables, or we'll just do it. We'll make some new ones. For the layer in old tile dictionary, for every key, var layer cell position is lay 0 var layer tile old tile will be. And I don't like this with cell position. It's a little, I guess, yeah, it's helpful. We'll leave it as is. Now here's some weird stuff here. For cell in old tile dictionary layer, oh, that's just going to be for every array here. Let's just call it array, honestly. It's a cell and it's both. Well, it's okay, I see what it's doing. The layer isn't just an array of, it's not just one array, it's an array of arrays. Oh my god. We need to fix that back in here. I'm glad all three people can watch me struggle with this instead of doing fun stuff like playing with physics ropes. We'll get there. We'll get there. Let's see. So, yeah, we're setting it to just one cell. But really, we've got more cells that are replaced. If we did one erase operation, right, and we had a big brush, multiple cells would be replaced with cell -1, which is it's blank. So where are we keeping track of that information? Oh. We actually are... Each of these whole, like, signals is a single cell in what we're drawing. That's why the data gets so big, but that makes sense now. So this is kind of like a non sequitur, isn't it? Saying that the structure is like this. When we're doing this, we are only addressing one cell, right? When we're doing it like this, we sure as heck are only addressing one cell. Right? Set cells. I'm mostly sure. Because each of these sub-operations should be a different cell. But now it's got me questioning that. What we could do is we could do some testing and see which way it is. I think that might be best. If we go ahead and create some data here, we'll draw this here, 4 tiles. And we'll Control Z and it will print what we just did. Set cells on the far back layer with tile 37, and we have our second sub-op, which is setting the second tile to 38, another one which is setting it to 37, another one setting it to 38. So we are addressing each cell as a sub-op here. So it doesn't make sense that I wrote that. Whatever it was, this is not how the structure is or should be. It should be like this. There is no instancing through cells. We already do that. So we'll just set the cell before another wave of confusion sets in. Set cell to the layer cell position and the layer old tile and on layer. Now layer is being reused here, so for what else could we call this? Or should we just, we'll just do this, honestly. We don't need fancy names, we'll just define them separately. If it's an int, we'll do that. If it's not, we will define it here. Yeah, we don't even need to define layer. Old tile isn't declared in current scope. Old tile doesn't need to be cleared up here. Old tile is already declared. I know, but there's a new one. God. Spaghetti code. Awesome. Now, theoretically that would work. Let's go ahead and check that. If we got undo working for like the 5th time before we break it again, I'll be happy. There we go. It feels good. Yeah. And if we, for example, if we drew a bunch of this and then we overwrote all those tiles, we can bring them back. If we had a bunch of tiles on different layers, so I've got this, I've got that goes in back, this goes in front, we multi-erase all of them, we cannot bring them back. Okay. This is the case where it is a dictionary. Invalid index 3 on base array. Old tile is null. Aren't we not just setting it? Multi-erase is eraser. Old tile is a dictionary. Is this one of those things where it's like, yeah, you did say old tile, the key is that, but you didn't replace the thing itself with it, so you're still wrong? What even is old tile? Was it null? No? Oh, it's still... Well, that's not right. Oh, we're doing the objects again, aren't we? We really shouldn't be. Array size 70? What even is this? It's an array size 70 with a bunch of shit in it. Oh my god. I feel like we're not doing this properly. We had it. Let's go check in past operations. That'll get us... Past operations is null. Never mind. Past operations over here. And it like doesn't let me open it. I have no idea. Invalid get index 3 in base array. Did I just do it wrong? It should be an array of size 4 because it's the layer object, the position, the tile, and the old tile. The only time it wouldn't get that properly is if it was null, which it is. So it's null because it's a dictionary with null objects in it? Maybe? Honestly, I'm not sure what's going on here. Should we put something else in the dictionary and try it out? We'll print old tile for good measure. But it did say it was null, so it's just gonna return null again, isn't it? Old tile is a dictionary. Old tile key is going to be this array, where cell is valid, yes, because we're doing it back up there. Replace tile is this. If this returns null, which it might, let's print this one too. It only broke when we tried to retrieve that data, which is weird. So multi-erase, and we erased a bunch of stuff. Okay. It should give us a replace tile somewhere here, unless it didn't trigger. Unless this is just stuff we were printing before. It really isn't, is it? Multi-erase and is eraser isn't really getting called. Let's see if it ever finds an eraser. Still printing all that garbage. Didn't detect it then. It did detect it then, and it said my formatting was shit. You can't add a string and yeah. It's like a comma, isn't it? Well, the point is it worked. And what did it do? It give me a replaced tile is 37. So it is being called when we do that. Only when we erase on multiple layers, I guess. But what is wrong with this, right? It's got the tile, it's got the old tile is dictionary size 0 because it didn't have a chance to do that yet, did it? No. Hey, Fi. Nice to see you too. You have a good night. I'll let you know how all this work goes. Thanks for stopping in. All right. Will give us something useful to work off of. I say that. And it didn't even print it. Right. As it gets late in the night, my brain stops working. We've got to do that. And now we'll have printed it. Nope. So what did it break before? It's not detecting that I'm using an eraser here, and that we should use a dictionary. It's not telling me that. This is just telling me the region I selected. Is eraser Oh, it's probably the way we're checking to see if something is an eraser is not proper. This works as long as nobody added an argument to get brushes. Yeah. Yeah, because it kind of implies that there should be an argument there, but that's not the only problem we have with it. The other problem we've got with it is specifically to do with... No, I'm talking about my ass. What am I talking about? This function here isn't going to return it properly. Can we can do a better way of checking to see if the brush is an eraser, can't we? Because right now, if we were to select this, we wouldn't actually, it is an eraser. Okay, never mind. I'm completely wrong on that. It was supposed to be null, so that it wouldn't overwrite the object, but it is an eraser. I guess because it is, oh, and I remember that whole system had to rely on the fact that it could like read pixels and like detect that this is null, or that detect that there's no pixels there. Basically, I'm gonna add that to the GitHub problems real quick. New issue. Draw null tiles without erasing existing tiles. Okay. That'll be something to work on later. Most pressing right now is getting this to work. How can we identify, and how are we identifying that it's an eraser? It looks like we're using this a lot, so we should make sure it's actually good. First, let's just test to see if it's actually working. Is eraser. Let's go ahead and print is eraser, comma, is. Now whenever we draw something, it will give us a bunch of true or false, and we can determine how accurate it is. That tells us it's not an eraser. Awesome. But this one is an eraser. And it's finally printing stuff. Why wasn't it doing it before? It doesn't detect when we erase as a box. That's probably why. No, that doesn't work. But yeah, if we erase normally, it finds the eraser. If we erase like this, it finds it's an eraser. If we erase like this, it doesn't find that it's an eraser. Probably because the function we're working on right now relies on... Yeah... Because we got different functions for Dropbox, don't we? we're just working on set cells 2D. We're gonna have to fix all of this. That sucks. We're still using these, aren't we? Get rid of this. No, that's good advice. Back to mono y mono. We've got the layer. Also got if it's traced or not. Which is just to say if it's an undo function or not. Really, this traced thing doesn't really matter anymore because we use separate functions for undoing and redoing. But I guess it's nice to have. We don't pass it on to the undo because it doesn't need to know that. It already knows it. Is it an eraser? It is sometimes. Why is it only sometimes? God damn, I don't know. Because it's using different functions that aren't part of this. It wouldn't even counter because let's just see, right? If we're drawing a box, right? It will I don't think we even use the same function. We can tell if it does if it tells us that it's not an eraser. If it says it's not an eraser, then it does use the same function. It does use the same function. Let's reset that. This one does not use the same function, so it will be broken still. But this should work right now, and it doesn't. It finds that it's not an eraser if we draw it, but if we erase it, it doesn't. Does that imply that erasing and drawing use two separate functions? I think it does. Oh god, it does, doesn't it? Because it uses, oh my god, it uses getBox1D. Or even, no, it uses, right. Because we don't need to know the order of the tiles. We just need to know which tiles or which cells are getting replaced by -1. That's why we are totally using that, aren't we? Let's go and do tile input. Let's go back to the source, right? If we draw a box, yeah, we use set cells 1D. This is terrible, and also totally invalidates the fact that we use a brush at all, because well, the brush will just be always -1. This is just terrible, isn't it? We really shouldn't be doing that. I know somewhere along the line I thought it was faster to get that information that way. It's just more confusing to work with. GetBox2D, yes. Let's get rid of whatever this getBox1D nonsense is. We'll get rid of this function. We'll be able to totally get rid of this function when we're done with this. And also this function here. Totally get that shit out of here. Let's go back up. Do tile input. Right, now we use this function. Start position, mouse position. Brush is going to be a function that I think we already have. I think we have get brush as eraser. Yes, we do. Why aren't we using this? Oh, it's probably that I changed this during a live stream because I thought it was going to. That's exactly what I did, didn't it? Oh my god. I had those functions around just kind of knocking about. I thought to use them because I thought it would be faster. Oh my god. Programming during live streams like this is generally not a good idea. If you're doing something very complicated like this, it's like, no, just calm down and focus. It'll make more sense. But here we go. So we have the function get brush as an eraser, and we can check to see if it's true. If we make the brush into an eraser again and it's the same thing, then it's already an eraser. So we should be able to check this now. Let's see. So we're not just fixing like a little bit today, we're fixing the whole shebang today. That's not an eraser. That is an eraser. That is not an eraser. This is an eraser. Awesome. It does work still. Although it seems to be a little bit slow. Probably just because we're printing all of that nonsense. So let's stop printing. We know you're an eraser. We just need to do a little note that doesn't work for, write this down. New undo doesn't work for line erase. Big exclamation point, underlined 3 times. Hopefully I see that. So we'll fix that later on. Now it should work. Well, it would be nice if it just worked. We create this, erase this, Control Z. It won't undo because I think we commented out undo. No? No. But it should have given us the sub-op still. It prints a bunch of -1s. I don't know why it's printing -1. Probably because it's printing... print old tile. Yeah, we know what old tile is. We know it's an int. So we'll do it this way. We'll set the cells back to the old tile. Well, old tile was in -1. That kind of implies it didn't really get it correctly, did it? We'll see. Maybe we're just doing the dictionary wrong. Undo that. Undo, undo. Undo, and it doesn't work. Let's see why. This was the whole operation, by the way. Fucking chaos. When you see this, you're like, holy fucking shit. But this is all the data for placing that small amount of eraser tiles. I know, it's fucking terrible. I know, we shouldn't be doing it like this. But we are, so... Oh, we should be storing it totally differently. This is all useless. Well, not totally. The fact that it retains all the information that the old tiles used to be is the important part. And here it isn't doing it, actually. Undoing, okay, setting cells. This is setting all the cells to -1. This is undoing the operation, this line here, on this layer, in this position, at this point, set it to -1. This is the stuff that we just read up here, and saying it's undoing that operation. But how is it undoing it? And interestingly enough, we're not doing this correctly, are we? Because look at this. The old tile should be last, but the new tile is last. Since the new tile is -1. That just means we'd have to transpose those and that'll work. Let's see. We've got cell, we've got replace tile. It should always be in the order where it's tile and old tile. Since it's an eraser, we are retaining the cell and replace tile. Replace tile is get cell V. This is the old tile. So if we go back to undo here, if it's a dictionary, cell tile, old layer old tile is layer 1. We'll set cell at the position at the layer old tile with that ID at that layer. But why is old tile returning an integer? It is, isn't it? When we read it back here, old tile was returning an integer of -1. And it was in the wrong place. Old tile, oh, is it because old tiles, no, it's not because it's null. Let's go ahead and print this again. I'm not really sure what's going on here. So we'll have to be a little more, like, linear about this, I guess. Methodical. Do that, undo that. It prints the old tile, which was -1. That is correct. If we do this, all of those old tiles will be either stuff that was underneath it or -1. So that is still correct. If we do this, and we do this, and undo, the old tile shouldn't be -1. The old tile should have been what? And that's the crux of our problem here. The old tile should have been tile 163. But look here, set cells. We're setting -1, -1. It's recording the old tile as being -1, but it's not. Why is it recording the new tile as being 163? 163. It's just the wrong order. I don't know where that's happening though. Old tile, layer.name. This is getting it for the layer. Wait a second. It shouldn't even be -1 here, should it? It should be a dictionary. So why aren't we printing a bunch of dictionaries here? Is it because it's not recognizing it as an eraser? It probably still isn't recognizing it as an eraser. Print is here. We're gonna go up late with this problem. This is gonna be the entirety of the stream. Sorry to disappoint. That should have been true. It is. It's an eraser and multi-erase is selected. Is it the fact that multi-erase isn't a variable anymore? No, it still is. And it's also set to true. So if it's an eraser, come on, just print is eraser for me. Draw, erase, is eraser true, it's going through. But why is it not working? Instead of just printing is eraser, and it's also printing it a bunch of times. Cause this is for each of the cells, yeah. But after the end of this, we should be able to print what the old tile is, right? That'll definitively tell us. That'll give us the best answer into what the old tile is. Let's see. Old tile is... Why is it doing that? Bruh. Because it... Oh my god, I said this was going to cause a problem, and it does. It's taking the preview tile. But furthermore, right? We got the position, and we've got -1 because it's recording the old tile as -1 because it's doing that for everything. What we should really do is say, well, if there is nothing on that, then don't add that at all, please. So we'll add a couple of conditions to this, right? Not like that. Please don't do that. Nope. I want to go back to the script editor. For if L is tile map and L is not in not is in and not L dot is in group preview tiles. I believe that was the thing. Then add it. And also, if replace tile is not -1, then do it, right? Then do that. And yeah, or we can do that too. Give me it now. Now this should be a lot less an old tile. When we do this, there we go. Awesome. It only wait, it still returns the preview layer because we got that wrong, but it only returns the relevant layer, which is what I was intending. Let's check the preview. Preview tiles. It's in tile previews. Okay, that's dumb and confusing. I should really just, yeah. Awesome. Gotta do the same thing over again. Hopefully this is good ASMR, Ash. And there we go. Now our data is way simplified. We've got the position of the tile as a vector 2, and we've got the ID of the tile that got replaced. So theoretically we'll be able to refresh that when we Control Z. But it will require us to fix undo. And we're pretty close too. Old tile is a dictionary. But is it being passed as a dictionary? This is the important thing. We can check that really quickly by undoing and printing something if that's true. Awesome. So we erased, it should have printed. Well, not yet. Actually, we gotta Control Z and it should tell us. And it does not. I don't see it anywhere. We can clear some of this printing, but it basically means it is a dictionary, but it's not being passed as one. Which is the crux of our problem here, right? We don't want any of that. Why is it not being passed as an erase? We can print it here as well, right? We'll print it here. Old. Wait, that's weird. It's that's telling me the old, but this one should be old as according to sending old. This is the value it's actually sending. If we go ahead and do that erase one more time. Yeah, the old tile that it has is not the old tile it sends. And we need to figure out why that is. It probably has something to do with all of these like nested things over here. Basically, we've got a condition for if it's multi-race and eraser. And this one should be... The condition for this one is a little weird. It really should just be else, but we have this if auto layer, and if it's not eraser. There should be no harm for doing this, right? I mean, like, it should already be returning that the same. Oh, is it? Hold on. Was that it? I think that was it. I think it was bad tabbing. Oh no. Oh my god, was that the only problem? That wasn't the only problem, but geez. It took... Oh my god. It took like an hour to figure that out, and it was just fucking messy coding. Holy shit. My fucking god. We are making sure that mistake never gets done again. We're getting rid of like all these code comments later on. But jeez. Let's see if it works now. I'll be happy if the thing we thought we fixed an hour ago is now actually fixed. Nope. Still crashes. Set cell. Oh. So, this is interesting. Cannot convert an argument 1 from string to vector 2. It's expecting a vector 2, but cell position is giving it a string. It really shouldn't, but let's check here. Cell position is F. Why is it F? It's just a capital letter F. Layer old tile is lowercase r. Layer is front. What the hell is that baloney? Like, that structure looks correct on that one. On T. Actually, yeah, if T cell position is T1, that's a vector 2. This one isn't correct because cell position is layer 0, which is this value right here. And it looks like in something, it's not being set correct. Here it's like layer is front, cell position is capital F, and that's weird. It's reading this string as a dictionary with these, or as an array, with each of these being the characters in it. Instead of layer, what should we be writing here? We should be writing old tile, right? And that'll work. I just wrote the wrong thing. Hopefully. Draw a bunch. Erase. Control Z. Breaks. Invalid index 0. Old tile is a dictionary. Old tile, old tile 1, 0. Because it's a nested array. Yeah. Oh, how gross. That's why I was trying to refer to layer, because I was trying to refer to but layer is just the key, is it not? Right? It's a key for a dictionary, for an array. Yeah. How would you get the value from a key in a dictionary? You would go, old tile layer, right? And that would retrieve that key from the dictionary, I think. Oh, I don't like working with dictionaries. Let's see if it works. I'm pretty sure that's right. If we're trying to retrieve a value with that key, I'm pretty sure that's how we do it. It's probably not. Nope. Non-existence function set cell v, but in base string. Oh, right, we have to reconstruct layer. Okay, it was the right way of doing things, but we converted layer to a string here just so we could pass it instead of passing a reference to it. Just out of curiosity, what happens if we do pass the actual node as a key? It would be kind of fucked if we did, but it might work. Let's see, where do we do that? L.name. Well, let's see if we just pass the actual layer. It will break if the object doesn't work anymore, but since the object should always be there, that might not be a problem. It works. Oh my gosh, it works. It takes like a couple of oh, it's chugging. Oh man, it's chugging. Is that just because it has to... I think it's just because it's printing Baba Booey a bunch of times. Let's see. If we turn that off, maybe that'll go faster. Please don't print Baba Booey. Please don't print the old tile. Oh, I'm gonna be stoked if this is actually like working and fast. Still slow. What is it printing when I do this? It's chugging like it's printing something. Oh, yeah, it really fucking is. This is this. Oh my god. This is our operation, by the way, in text format. Yeah, maybe don't print the last operation. Maybe don't tell me what you're undoing. We can comment that one out. Because it should be working now if it isn't. You still printing something? Bada bing, bada boom. What the hell are you printing? Time to hunt down all the debug stuff I'm doing. Tell me. You better not be printing all the tiles that you're making, are you? Print, 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 print. Why are you doing that? Stop hitting yourself. Oh, it's not only, God, it wasn't only just printing the operation it just did, it was printing all operations that came before that. No wonder it was chugging. Alright. See, if you think something's wrong, it's either you're printing a bunch of text or you're creating like millions and millions of sprites like I used to be doing with this preview. Ah, oh, awesome. It just works. Now, one thing that doesn't work is undoing lines. I think I'm going to probably let's do that and wrap it up for a night, right? We've gone 2.5 hours about now. I think having our undo working is a nice place to put it off. Let's see. So the whole thing why line isn't working is because we use a completely different algorithm to set our line. Instead of all I've been working on is set cells 2D, which is to set a 2D array of cells. Like if we're selecting multiple cells at the same time, we'll set it like that. But if we're setting a line, what we do is we only get one part of the line. Let me see if I can do this. We play. Nope, it's just gonna crash. When we set a line with a brush that's bigger than one tile, we basically have to do some funky math to get around that. And here's what it does. So I'm doing a 4x4 and I'm doing it as a line. Now, because of that, we take our usual line algorithm that draws a line for us based off of where we started and where we're ending, and we have to only apply it to one. We only have to apply it once per part of the pattern, right? Per part of the brush. So if I were to do it here, we would draw. We basically only record this coordinate, this coordinate, this one, this one, this one, this one, and we draw the entire pattern based off of that coordinate. So it draws a line that might look like what we expect. I don't know. This was the solution I ended up doing. There's probably another way. Well, there is another way you could do this. I didn't like it. You really shouldn't be drawing lines with like multi-patterns anyways, but this was the way that made the most sense. I guess you could do it for like, if you wanted to do this. It would be gross, but you could do it. Yeah. Yeah, that is gross. We won't talk about that. But we gotta do that other algorithm. We've got to change the way it works too, and it records information to match up with our new way of recording information. Set line. This is the function that does it. And you can see here, we are appending some information to our active operation. And it's in a different format from how we want to do it nowadays. So, first of all, let's just set the layer here. And cell plus offset tile. Old tile dictionary is no longer always a dictionary. In the case of when we're not using multi-erase, it will just be old tile. And we keep that name for both of it, when it is and when it isn't a dictionary. So do this here. In this case, it's just an integer because we only have one old tile that we need to. There's only one tile that gets overwritten when we put down a new tile, because we're only drawing on one layer. Let's see. Old tile, does it not exist? Now it does. Old tile is going to exist, and if we do have a multi-erase and the brush is an eraser, we will tell you to make old tile into a dictionary. Not an array, a dictionary. Old tile with the key of the layer will be set to layer get cell cell. This will be get old tile. But we're doing that for every layer, right? L.setCellV. That seems a little off. We really should be getting the... Oh, is there a reason? There probably is a reason, but that's so strange. We're setting the thing before we're getting it. I remember something about this, but we'll just leave it for now and see if it works. If it doesn't, then we'll finagle it. Old tile. Set new tile. And this one, if we're not using an eraser, then old tile will just be layer get LV. Yeah, it's just gonna be one thing. Now, old tile, actually, this is going to be an array here because we need the cell, but we also need the cell. We don't have the cell. We have the cell, and now we have the tile, which is this right here. We can do that. We can make that more clear. There we go. We'll actually copy this code here, and not is in group dot is in group previews. Let's see. Replace tile. Yes, we are defining that. Now, hold on. This is... I don't know why we're setting the new tile first, but let's just do it here anyways. Like this. And then if it isn't, then we'll do that. And that'll be it. That seems like we're doing it right. Let's see if it works. Ooh, it didn't do anything. But it didn't crash, so we're getting somewhere. Primarily, I guess, undo, it feels, or it thinks it undid something, but it really didn't. If we, yeah, so it will not break the game, but it doesn't do anything. Part of this, I think, is gonna be because of this weird order. Let's change this order. It felt like it was wrong to begin with, but like, now this is just setting off some more red flags. So that was part of the problem. But the rest of the problem is we aren't recording. We're just recording that little index kind of tile. So what we'll do is we'll do a couple of things. Cell plus offset. What we'll need to record here is cell plus offset, because I am 90% sure that's what it does. It iterates through that a couple of times. Yes. Yeah, if everyone's on the same page, then it should already be iterating through that a couple times. Yes. Okay. Great. That's it. That's tonight. Hey, Ash. Guess what? Did you just pop in? Or were you always here? Anyways, look what we got working, right? Wabam. 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 We, for the longest, well, not the longest time, actually it was just for a short while, but it was totally broken. We reordered the data structure completely, well, not completely, but a lot, and we got it to work. Now we can control Z with impunity, yes, and it doesn't crash. And you know the other thing, right? I don't know if you're around for this too, but look at this. We can draw that now without like totally destroying my CPU. Before, because it used to create like a whole fuck ton of sprites. Now all it does is draw to a tile map that's 50% invisible. It did cause some problems because we're writing a lot of non-tile map information to tile map, but we sorted that out. The place where tile maps are is a little cluttered, but it's better than putting them anywhere else, honestly. So yeah. So now we have a lot more potential for making levels. Like, I can just do this now, and if I don't like it, I can like erase it. It works. Basically, I'm gonna have the time of my life making levels now like this, right? Like, I can just do this. Watch how fast I can speedrun this, right? Alright. I'm gonna blow your mind with this. Gotta speedrun tactics. I have the stopwatch going. Oh no. I better really get my G fuel on. No. Oh, but I can control Z now. Let's go. What I should really be doing is, yeah. You did hear an alarm. That was my brush your fucking teeth alarm. Look at this. We're going. We're doing things. Alright. Now, now the way I have to end my levels is a little gross. But it allows me to do cool stuff as well. Like this little tricky mabob here, huh? Actually, I don't know what I'm doing. Shh, you didn't see that. Ignore it. Oh, it's so ugly. Anyway, the point is, we can make a lot of level a lot faster now. And especially with the Control-C, Control-Z stuff functionality. This should be like this. I don't know what's going on. Fuck my life. This is my last resort. Suffocation, no reason. I guess that's one thing we need to fix, is we don't have a little tile for those 1x1 islands. We can draw around it in the meantime, but shh, it's not a mess, you're a mess. Basically, if I want to get this tile set working, I should be doing some other fun stuff with it first before I continue on this lonely road. It's not bad for speed. I just gotta get used to it. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, you overwrote. Oh no. Oh, we don't have that one. Can I stop? You can stop the watch, Ash. I don't have any of these. So that's why you don't make your tiles have a weird half offset thing. Like, what is this half tile kind of thing going on? It's very gross to work with. It was supposed to solve a bunch of stuff, but anyways, it didn't. We're pretty much done for tonight, but let's go around and play around in our little new field we've made. Oop. Being able to make level quickly is super important. It's about as important as it is to make level like fun. And that's what the fucking thing I've been doing for the last couple months have been. Trying to making levels fun. Make it like Minecraft, you know? This little Duderino over here. He's all bright because our code doesn't unselect him. In fact, let me just add that to new issue. Brown bricks and Minecraft. I just love to build brown bricks with Minecraft. It's the most amount of fun you can possibly have while playing an app. I see why all the kids are playing building brown bricks in Minecraft. What is the purpose of Minecraft? Wait, oh, he doesn't get tripped up by the wires. That would be kind of cool if I gave him that physics box, though. Since I changed the hitbox to do that to a different physics layer, he doesn't use his collision hitbox to do this anymore, because it created a bunch of square artifacting stuff. Whatever. I still don't know how to feel about these. I think these should really be in like the background, but they're so fun to mess with that like I really want to keep them physics objects. I just gotta like make them able to pass through the player somehow. Because if they can, and if the influence isn't like super direct, then it's more like they move because of the wind of him rushing past, you know? Then it's like he affects them, but he doesn't get tangled up in them. That's the fun part, being able to affect stuff in the world. That's why I'm gonna have animated grass, like this boy over here, this ugly boy over here. We don't talk about that. So Ash, were you lurking this whole time? You just got home? I have a feeling I already know the answer. He's spazzing out. You were off for most of it? Oh, then I did have a couple of viewers then. That was fun. I'm gonna head off now. I think we got a lot done. We got tiles fixed, hopefully, for the last time. Next time, what we'll probably do is, there are a couple of scenarios that we need to fix, right? We fixed lines, but we have to fix redo. It'll probably work, it's just that we have to restructure it. I might need to do that on my own time. the other thing I wanted to do on stream, besides miscellaneous bug fixes, is let's actually do some art next time. I have a bunch of ideas from that air show I went to, and I wanted to draw them. Doing sprites like that would be super fun. And I'm shit at drawing airplanes anyways, so maybe I should get better at it. If Laputa is a floating island, they'll probably have a couple. Anyways, in the meantime, I'll be off fixing whatever shenanigans I've just invented. If you're watching the VOD, thank you for watching. I hope you have a lovely day. Alright, bye-bye.